I will be reading to you from the works of the master himself, Edgar Allan Poe. And if you've fallen asleep before the end of the video, then that's okay. That is the purpose of this. So sit back, relax, close your eyes if you can, and enjoy. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if one gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had tried to borrow from my bookcase surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to still the beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. Some late night visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. This is it, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and you faintly came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long I stood there wandering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Merely this, and nothing more. Then into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon I heard again a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see, then, what there it is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obeisance made he, not an instant stopped or stayed he, but with mind of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas, just above my chamber door, perched and sat and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven, wandering from the nightly shore. Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, nevermore. Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore, for we cannot help agreeing that no sublunary being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculpture bust above his chamber door, with such name as nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before. On the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Wondering at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken. Doubtless, said I, what it utters is its only stock in store, caught from some unhappy master, whom merciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, so, when hope he would adjure, stern despair return, instead of the sweet hope he dared adjure, that sad answer, nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my sad soul into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in croaking, nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by angels whose faint footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels hath sent thee respite, and nepenthe from the memories of Lenore. Let me quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gallia? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by that God we both adore, tell the soul with sorrow laden if, within the distant Aidenn, it shall clasp a Satan maiden, whom the angels name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word or sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's plutonium shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. February 1845. Next, I will be reading A Dream Within a Dream. Take this kiss upon thy brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow, you are not wrong to deem that my days have become a dream. Yet if hope has flown away, in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep, while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? March 31st, 1849. Next, I'll be reading For Annie. Thank heaven, the crisis, the danger is past, and the lingering illness is over at last, and the fever called living is conquered at last. Sadly, I know, I am the shorn of my strength, and no muscle I move as I lie at full length. But no matter, I feel I am better at length. And I rest so composedly now in my bed that any beholder might fancy me dead, might start at beholding me, thinking me dead. The sickness, the nausea, the pitiless pain hath seized with the fever that maddened my brain, with the fever called living that burned in my brain. The moaning and groaning, the sighing and sobbing are quieted now with horrible throbbing at heart. Oh, that horrible, horrible throbbing. And of all tortures, that torture the worst has abated the terrible torture of thirst. For the Neptaline river of Gloria cursed, I have drank of a water that quenches all thirst, of a water that flows with a lullaby sound from a fountain very few feet under the ground, from a cavern not very far down underground. And let it never be foolishly said that my room it is gloomy and narrow my bed, for a man never slept in a different bed, and to sleep you must slumber in just such a bed. My tantalized spirit here blandly reposes, forgetting or never regretting its roses, its old agitations of myrtles and roses. For now, while so quietly lying, it fancies a holier odor about it of pansies, a rosemary odor commingled with pansies, with rue and the beautiful Puritan pansies, and so it lies happily, bathing in many, a dream of the love and the beauty of Annie. Drowned in a bath of the tresses of Annie, she tenderly kissed me, she fondly caressed, and then I fell gently to sleep on her breast, deeply to sleep from the heaven of her breast. When the light was extinguished, she covered me warm, and she prayed to the angels to keep me from harm, to the Queen of the angels to shield me from harm. And I lie so composedly now in my bed, knowing her love, that you fancied me dead, and I rest so contentedly now in my bed, with her love at my breast, that you fancied me dead, that you shudder to look at me, thinking me dead. But my heart, it is brighter than all of the many stars of the heaven, for it sparkles with Annie, it glows with the fire of the love of my Annie, with the thought of the light of the eyes of my Annie. April 28th, 1849. Next I will be reading Annabel Lee. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that, long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me. Angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, this was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we. And neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. October 9th, 1849. Next, I will be reading Fanny. The dying swan by northern lakes sings its wild death song, sweet and clear, and as the solemn music breaks, o'er hill and glen dissolves in air, thus musical thy soft voice came, thus trembled on thy tongue my name, like sunbursts through the ebon cloud, which veils the solemn midnight sky, piercing cold evening's sable shroud, thus came the first glance of that eye. But like the adamantine rock, my spirit met and braved the shock. Let memory the boy recall, who laid his heart upon thy shrine. When far away his footsteps fall, think that he deemed thy charms divine, a victim on love's altar slain, by witching eyes which look disdain. May 18th, 1833. The next reading is titled Alone. From childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone. And all I've loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life was drawn from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent, or the fountain, or the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the lightning in the sky as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. 1829. The next reading has an incomplete title. It was certainly written for a woman. So, the next reading is titled Song to Blank. I saw thee on thy bridal day, when a burning blush came o'er thee. Though happiness around thee lay, the world all love before thee, and in thine eye the kindling light of young passion free was all on earth my changed sight of loveliness might see. That blush, I ween, was maiden shame. As such it well may pass, although its glow hath raised a fiercer flame in the breast of him, alas, who saw thee on that bridal day, when the deep blush would come o'er thee. Though happiness around thee lay, the world all love before thee. 1827. The next reading is another incomplete title. So as it stands, I will read to you now, To Blank. Sleep on, another hour. I would not break so calm a sleep, to wake to sunshine and to shower, to smile and weep. Sleep on, like sculptured thing, majestic, beautiful art thou. Sure seraph fans thee with his wing, and fans thy brow. We would not deem thee child of earth, for angelic is thy form, but that in heaven thou hadst thy birth, where comes no storm, to mar the bright, the perfect flower, but all is beautiful and still, and golden sands proclaim the hour, which brings no ill. Sleep on, some fairy dream, perchance is woven in thy sleep, but thy spirit, calm, serene, must wake to weep. May 11th, 1833. Next, I will be reading The Valley of Unrest. Far away, far away, far away, as far at least lies that valley as the day, down within the golden east. All things lovely are not they, far away, far away. It is called the Valley Nice, and a Syriac tale there is, thereabout which time hath said, shall not be interpreted. Something about Satan's dart, something about angel wings, much about a broken heart, all about unhappy things. But the Valley Nice, at best, means the valley of unrest. Once it smiled a silent dell, where the people did not dwell, having gone unto the wars, and the sly mysterious stars, with a visage full of meaning, o'er the unguarded flowers were leaning, o'er the sunway dropped all red, through the tulips overhead, then grew paler as it fell, on the quiet asphodel. Now the unhappy shall confess, nothing there is motionless. Helen, like thy human eye, there uneasy violets lie, there the reedy grass doth wave, over the old forgotten grave, one by one from the tree top, there the eternal dews do drop, there the vague and dreamy trees do roll like seas in northern breeze, around the stormy Hebrides. There the gorgeous clouds do fly, rustling everlastingly. Through the terror-stricken sky, rolling like a waterfall, o'er the horizon's fiery wall, there the moon doth shine by night, with a most unsteady light. There the sun doth reel by day, over the hills and far away. And Helen, like thy human eye, low crouched on earth some violets die, and nearer heaven some lilies wave, all banner-like above a grave, and one by one from out their tops eternal dews come down in drops. Ah, one by one from off their stems eternal dews come down in gems. 1831. The last reading is titled The Doomed City, the City in the Sea. Lo, Death had reared himself a throne in a strange city all alone, far down within the dim west. And the good and the bad and the worst and the best have gone to their eternal rest. Their shrines and palaces and towers are not like anything of ours. Oh no, ours never loom to heaven with that ungodly gloom. Time-eaten towers that tremble not, around by lifting winds forgot. Resignedly beneath the sky, the melancholy waters die. A heaven that God doth not contemn, with stars as like a diadem. We liken Our Lady's eyes to them, but there, that everlasting pall, it would be a mockery to call such dreariness a heaven at all. Yet thou no holy rays come down on the long night time of that town. Light from the lurid deep sea streams up the turrets silently, up thrones, up long forgotten bowers of sculptured ivy and stone flowers, up domes, up spires, up kingly halls, up fanes, up Babylon-like walls, up many a melancholy shrine. whose entablatures intertwine the mast, the bull, and the vine. There open temples, open graves, are on a level with the waves, but not the riches there that lie in each idol's diamond eye. Not the gaily jeweled dead tempt the waters from their bed, for no ripples curl, alas, along that wilderness of glass. No swellings hint that winds may be upon a far-off happier sea. So blend the turrets and shadows there, that all seem pendulous in air, while from the high towers of the town, death looks gigantically down. But lo, a stir is in the air, the wave there is a ripple there, as if the towers had thrown aside, in slightly sinking, the dull tide, as if the turret tops had given a vacuum in the filmy heaven. The waves have now a redder glow, the very hours are breathing low, and when, amid no earthly moans, down, down that town shall settle hence, hell raising from 1,000 thrones shall do it reverence, and death to some more happy clime shall give his undivided time. 1831. Thank you for joining me for this story time. I look forward to the next time, where I will share with you more works from the old masters. Take good care of yourself.